Hello and welcome to another colony submission video here in Timberborn Update 7. This is number 15 in our series where we're taking a look at your submissions, getting some interesting ideas, and seeing what kind of styles everybody builds with, who aren't named me. So this one comes to us from pkaMartin, who you're going to remember from last week. But I really liked this with the folktales here on the Thousand Islands map because, like their other map they submitted, there's no mods involved. I have mods installed, but they didn't use mods to make this, and I thought it was a really interesting take on how all of your different zip lines and everything interact across the entire map, because this is a big map, and there's only one district, despite it being named District 2, but everything is connected corner to corner with zip lines, and there's a lot of cool stuff to check out with this map. So let's zoom out a little bit, like I usually like to do, and go all the way down, and we'll see how this thing has been built up. Now, you're going to remember from the last time we checked out the Thousand Islands map that most of the water comes from right here on this edge. We have a mine right here, which you can see here on level 0, and it is operating with the bots, and everything else is not touched. We don't have two ways, of course, because this is not the Iron Teeth, but as we go up, you'll start to see stuff like this underground power buried here, connecting a couple different areas of the map. And then, of course, as we continue going up, you're going to see more and more stuff come in. But I wanted to draw attention to this little underground storage kind of thing we got going on here that isn't actually underground, but because of the way stuff is stacked on top of it, it ends up looking kind of like that. Almost like a basement to this farmhouse here. But like I said earlier, everything is connected really nicely with zip lines to the point where basically you don't need to have a whole lot of paths. Obviously, you're going to need some to connect different buildings, but there's really not that much. A lot of these longer red ones are just things that seem to have been used for construction and were not removed. Most of the actual connectivity is through zip lines. But as we continue going up layers, you're going to see something cool here, and that is a terraced thing of water wheels to generate lots and lots of power. Right here off the top, of course, we go up the rest of the way. Then you will see how this flows through here. Again, building a whole lot in harmony with the map, not against it, and that's something that was mentioned in the submission notes as being very important. But you might notice we got some pyramids, we got some interesting shapes all over the map. Again, this is completely vanilla, so what these are is actually staircases, platforms, and overhangs just arranged really, really cleverly to create these different interesting shapes here. And we've got a couple. We've got something over here. We, of course, have this really cool looking thing here that has the Earth Recultivator and, wow, the Fountain of Joy inside of it. And, of course, it is accessible with zip lines. You know I love some good beaver mass transit. But because all of these are stairs, you're going to see, maybe not a lot, but you're going to see beavers going up and down these things if there is a reason for them to traverse the area. And I think that's awesome. Like this one right here with the fluid dump is actually purposely built into this, and this is connected all the way up to, I think, yeah, you can see this right here. It goes all the way to this piece of terrain path right here, which obviously doesn't lead anywhere, but it is technically connected. You can't say it's not. But I really appreciate how this has been built, because I will be the first to admit I'm not really a huge fan of the folktales compared to the other factions. Obviously, they're still fun to play with, but I usually try to go for the Iron Teeth because I just like the two ways better. I like the different types of barracks they have that have first floor entrances as opposed to second floor entrances, make it a little bit easier to build neat stuff. But I don't know. This just goes to show you, you don't have to have a crazy supercomputer to utilize an entire 256 by 256 map. You just have to have the power of zip lines. And they're really not that expensive, not that hard to build. You just have to be able to get to where you're going to put your pylons and your stations and get everything all set, ready to go. So, other things of note, we talked about the emphasis on just kind of following the terrain harmony, no mods, but there's a couple neat build things I wanted to draw our attention to, like right here. This is a whole soccer stadium, or football for the rest of the world, not named the United States, but like I said, I love beaver mass transit. We've got a zipline station right built into the stadium. Look at these awnings and overhangs, and yes, on the pitch, we have on either side a whole squad of beavers ready to take on a whole other squad of beavers. We got goalies in here. Man, I don't know that much about soccer/football, but I do know what a soccer stadium looks like, and this is just a really, really impressive build. And it's all vanilla. It's just suspension bridges, benches, and staircases. That's it. And it works so well. You peel this back, and you can see once all the awnings and stuff are removed. Like, this is all just really, really smartly put in place here. I love this so much. This reminds me of when I played Minecraft, when it was not even out in full release yet. Like, what, I don't know, beta 1.2? January of 2011, I think, is when I got into it. But we'd build stuff like this. And back then, if you've played Minecraft, if you still play Minecraft, you're going to know that there's all sorts of blocks and there's all sorts of materials and all these half slabs and everything. Now, when I started, this is basically what everything would look like, because you had one type of half slab. I don't think stairs even existed yet. And you only had a couple different types of materials to build with. So everything was this real blocky, kind of uniform, utilitarian, almost brutalist style of architecture, just because that's what you had. And that reminds me of this. And that's obviously a very, very positive thing based on my memories that I made with my friends playing there all those years ago. But I just love this. I think this is really, really cool. And, I mean, yeah, it's a stadium. It's got tiers. It even has these overhanging balconies here like you'd see in a real stadium. Because, like, you know, most stadiums that have these upper decks don't just have the seats go flat up like that. There's going to be stuff that overhangs the lower levels a little bit to get you that much closer to the action. And I don't know, man, I like this so much. I just think this is really cool. But I would be just so upset if I did not share that with you guys. So we'll put the awnings back on. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of stadiums in Europe that look like this. I couldn't tell you what their names are, but it looks so cool. It looks really, really cool. So checking out the rest of this, obviously we have this big dam here, but you're going to notice as we peel this back, there's not that much actual terraforming happening. It's just levees and dams and sluices. And yes, under all this, we do have zipline stations going in this little diamond shape to get around this little pyramid thing here. Let's actually turn that on. There's nothing underneath this, which I was kind of expecting there to be something in here. Maybe there's going to be something in the future. I don't know. But I think this is so cool. Like, I would have never thought to use stairs this way. But it works. It's simple. It works. It's straightforward. What's not to love about it? Of course, Folktales do have all the windmills, and these are producing tons of power in conjunction with the water wheels down here. Very, very nicely organized. Once again, this is where all of our water comes in, and you can see the little bad water diversion strategy here. Very, very simple, very, very effective. You just have sluices on the other side here, and the bad water just goes right off the edge of the map. Absolutely no problems. That goes in here, this goes in here, and then this can be raised if you so desire to divert stuff over this way, and then have it come out here. But yeah, I like this, right? Longtime viewers, very long-time viewers of the channel remember the Update 4 playthrough we did on this map, which the map's been reconfigured since then because they had to add stuff for the bad water. But I spent so long in that playthrough making from essentially the ground all the way up to, I don't know, maybe this height, so we'll call that like 10 or 11, maybe 12 blocks high, without overhangs, because this wasn't allowed. You couldn't have levees on top of anything that was not another levee or the ground. So I had just this thing snaking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I don't know, maybe I can find a screenshot of it somewhere if I have one saved still. But it was such a pain to build, and it didn't end up looking that good, in my opinion, because I could have, I don't know, maybe put a little bit more thought into the design. But here, this just steps down anyway. When the map is undisturbed, fresh, whenever you start a new playthrough. And this user just said, you know what? Just pop it on the hillside, maybe do a tiny bit of terraforming so we can have straight lines. And this looks great. It looks super cool, and it's all connected super easy. I don't know why I would not have thought to do something like that. Because traditionally, you would think, okay, well, it's a huge, wide swath of water. It can't possibly have that much power per square going through water wheels. But no, you'd be wrong. 169 HP for that wheel, and I'm sure all the other ones are of similar power, varying. We do see some different numbers here. But you take a look at this here. It says 135 is the expected value, and it's all around there. It works. It just works. What did I say last time? Unlike Skyrim on Smart Fridge, this actually has value. I don't know. I'm running out of different ridiculous things to theoretically port Skyrim to in the year 2025, but I digress. We've got a lot of really nicely designed industry here. We have some bot factories. We have fuel refineries. We've got all sorts of stuff, all of our liquids nicely organized, once again. And right here, like I said before at the very beginning of the video, we do have this underground mine, which, thanks to the powers afforded to us by Update 6 and Update 7, can be buried with terrain. And we've got a nice campfire, which, yes, is connected to a zipline station underground. Well, this is. While this here, you have a pathway going to these 2 zipline stations that are, in fact, still connected here. And then as we continue going up, you'll see these connected to the rest of the map as well. So many layers to scroll through. But I digress. You'll recognize this area too from our other colony that we looked at on Thousand Islands. This has just been simply capped, and we've got a little bit of recreation here. We've got some maple syrup being grown. We've got pine resin being farmed. We've got potatoes over here. We've got spatterdock. We've got cattails. And it's all a single block high, which of course is required to have these things growing safely. It just looks nice. Wow, indeed. And then we have, of course, the Fountain of Joy in its natural habitat, which is 1 block of deep water next to a magnificent beaver city with some recreation, some showers. Yes, Kurt, we do have showers in this one too. And others who like the showers. But remember when I said earlier in this video about how I didn't really like the second-story entrances in the Folktales lodges, and I didn't like to build with them that way? Well, this makes me look like an idiot, because look how nicely this integrates with the hillside. If you build with the terrain, which I will be the first person to tell you I almost never do, it just works. And like, look at this. Every level has kind of a similar look and feel, but they're all different in their own way. And they're just integrated really nicely with the second-story entrances. And of course, there's decorations and various well-being facilities, monuments. Wow. And yes, convenient neighborhood transportation. Oh, that person died. But convenient neighborhood transportation right close at hand, almost anywhere you want to go. Sounds like a beaver utopia to me. And yes, we have dance halls, and we've got mud bath pits, and we've got some places for the bots to go to work, and we've got whatever happens in the rhythmic chanting and green fluid vapor in this thing. And yes, medical beds, even though they're not currently needed, still available close at hand. And everything is just looking really good. And we even have some overhangs on top of campfires. And all sorts of fun stuff like that. It just... Oh, you know, I didn't even see this one when I was looking at the map earlier. Dance hall completely underneath an overhang. How about that? Actually, let's peel this back and see if there's anything else. Because I did take a look around this before I started recording to see if I saw anything really, really cool. And then I managed to still miss stuff. Look at that. We got paths. We got staircases going down here. Everything is just so nicely accessible. We got extra space back here. We could put something back here. I don't know, but I guess that leaves options for the future. And then, of course, underneath here, there's no room for anything else. But, man, I don't know. I feel like every single one of these I open up, I'm like, man, I love this so much. And it's going to come across to somebody as, oh, well, he's just being nice and sitting. No, I actually love looking at these things. Because I would never think to build like this. You guys have seen my videos. I like putting stuff wherever it's going to fit, and it doesn't necessarily look that great. But then, people submit stuff, and it puts me to shame. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad. It's just good. It looks really, really good. So we'll take a look at a little bit of the rest of this. We've covered most of it, but again, just even the simple stuff like tree farming has been laid out in such a way where it looks organic and it just feels right. It looks like this is something that would realistically develop over time, and then you got just zipline access everywhere. Look, beaver transit. Transit's important, folks. And it works. It just looks good. It's just a really, really nice looking map. So, all that being said, we are just about out of time for this one, but I really wanted to show you guys what you can do without mods, with a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of respecting the topography, to borrow a phrase from our dear friend City Planner Plays. But I think it's about time for us to set off this earth recultivator, pick a spot, pick a vantage point, and just watch all of those lanterns go up into the sky as we say goodbye at the end of this one. So, let's hit pause. Let's hit that launch button. Thank you, loading. And let's find ourselves a place to go. Now, I do think there's probably a few spots that would be nice to view this from. But seeing how we have all of these different places, I think I would like to have that in the backdrop there. So let's come into right here. And then walk right through here and watch this unfold in real time. Look at that. I love this monument so much. It is just really, really cool to see all those things fly off into the sky and inspire that, you know, maybe the beavers can conquer the Earth in a way that's slightly better than the humans. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, folks. I really appreciate you guys sending these in. Thanks once again for doing so. And of course, if you have anything else that you think would be fun for us to take a look at, especially if it is not Iron Teeth and not the diorama stuff, we have tons of those and we're going to get to more of them in the future. But Ember Pelts, White Paws, or anything else that you think is cool or interesting you'd like to share with the community and see if we want to put it up here. The forum is basically never going to close. Just send it on in and I will absolutely take a look at everything and I'll pick my favorites to show with everybody on the channel. But yes, Beard Boosters, of course, obligated to thanks to those folks, and it's always a pleasure. They make it possible to do stuff like this where I can just say, you know what, let's take 2 days a week and just look at what the community has to offer and enjoy each other's contributions. I just saw some beavers morph through each other on the ziplines because they had different speeds, and that was really funny. But I digress. It truly is not possible without their dedicated support, especially as, you know, the business side of YouTube, which, you know, people don't really care to discuss that much. But it is important because, you know, this is kind of my job at this point, right? There is some sort of attention that has to be paid to the numbers, and they do rise and fall, but those folks who contribute every month make it possible to keep doing this without worrying so much about the algorithm or, oh, I guess I got to start a new series I don't really want to do because people would know. I'm going to do what I want to do because those folks make it possible, and I'm always going to be thankful. And I'm thankful for you even if you're not on that list. Just you being here is plenty, and I'm always glad to see you in the comments. So whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back again soon for more beaver fun and more other stuff as well. We have live streams 4 times a week. I'm trying my best to get through Transport Fever 2 and some satisfactory content before we move on to other games. Hope to see you there. But again, whatever you're doing, stay safe, have fun. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.